My beloved brothers and sisters, have you ever noticed that some people enter your life smiling, speaking kindly, and appearing supportive, yet somehow your peace begins to disappear the more you stay close to them? You pray less, you feel heavier inside, and your heart no longer feels calm, yet you cannot explain why. Islam teaches us that not every loss is a loss, and not every separation is negative. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life not as a punishment but as protection. Today we are not talking about anger, revenge, or cutting people off loudly. We are talking about wisdom. We are talking about quietly distancing yourself from those who harm your faith, your peace, and your soul, while keeping your heart clean and your intention for Allah alone. 1. Those who constantly pull you away from Allah. My brothers and sisters, one of the greatest dangers to your faith is not always a loud enemy or an open sinner, but a familiar voice that slowly weakens your connection with Allah. If someone in your life consistently causes you to delay or miss your salah, makes jokes when you try to improve yourself, or treats your efforts to become closer to Allah as something unnecessary or extreme, then understand this clearly and without confusion. That person is harming your akhirah, even if they claim to love you. Faith does not usually disappear overnight. It fades quietly, little by little, through small compromises that feel harmless in the moment. You start delaying prayer just once, then twice, then it becomes normal. You stop mentioning Allah because it feels awkward around them. You reduce your good habits not because they are wrong, but because you do not want to be mocked. Allah reminds us repeatedly that companionship shapes the heart. The people you spend time with influence what feels normal to you. When someone laughs at reminders of deen, when they call obedience too much, or when they make sin feel light and ordinary, they are slowly dimming the light in your heart without you realizing it. This is why Islam places such importance on righteous company. It is not about judging others, but about protecting your own soul. You do not need to argue with such people, nor are you required to constantly correct them or engage in endless debates. Islam does not teach us to force guidance upon anyone. Instead, it teaches wisdom. Sometimes wisdom means reducing closeness. Sometimes it means limiting conversations. Sometimes it means stepping back quietly so that your iman can breathe again. Protecting your relationship with Allah is more important than maintaining closeness with someone who weakens it. Remember this deeply. On the day of judgment, no friend, no family member, and no companion will stand in your place. They will not answer for your missed prayers or weakened faith. You will stand alone before Allah with your deeds. So choose the company that brings you closer to Him, and distance yourself gently, respectfully, and quietly from anything or anyone that pulls you away from His light. 2. Those who secretly enjoy your pain. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most painful realities in life is realizing that not everyone who smiles with you is truly happy for you. Some people appear supportive on the surface, but deep inside they feel comforted by your struggles and quietly satisfied when you fall. They may not openly celebrate your pain, but their words, reactions, and silence reveal what their hearts hide. When you succeed, they downplay it. When you suffer, they suddenly become very attentive, asking questions not to help you heal, but to feed their curiosity or sense of superiority. Islam teaches us purity of intention and sincerity of the heart. A believer wants good for others the same way they want good for themselves. When someone repeatedly reminds you of your past mistakes, exposes your weaknesses, or brings up your failures under the excuse of concern or honesty, understand that this behavior is not love. Allah conceals our faults out of mercy. So anyone who enjoys reopening your wounds is not acting with mercy. Such people often make you feel small, guilty, or ashamed, even when you are trying to move forward and improve. These individuals can slowly damage your emotional and spiritual health. Being around them creates self-doubt, anxiety, and heaviness in the heart. You begin to question yourself, your worth, and even Allah's mercy, not because Allah is distant, but because the environment around you is toxic. Islam does not require you to stay close to people who harm your heart. Endurance does not mean accepting emotional harm, and patience does not mean allowing yourself to be broken. You are not commanded to confront such people harshly or expose their intentions. In fact, Islam teaches dignity and restraint. The best response is often quiet distance. Reduce how much you share. Protect your personal struggles. Keep your healing private. Let Allah be the one you turn to, because He is the most gentle and the most aware of what people hide in their hearts. Remember this clearly. Anyone who finds joy in your pain should not have access to your inner world. Distancing yourself from them is not arrogance, revenge, or hatred. It is wisdom. It is self-respect. And most importantly, it is trusting Allah to replace harmful company with peace, clarity, and people who sincerely want good for you. 3. Those who constantly create drama and conflict. My dear brothers and sisters, there are people whose presence brings constant tension into your life. No matter the situation, they always seem to be involved in arguments, misunderstandings, gossip, or emotional chaos. If there is peace, they disturb it. If there is calm, they create noise. Islam teaches us that a believer is someone from whose tongue and behavior others feel safe. Yet some individuals thrive on conflict and do not feel comfortable unless there is drama surrounding them. These people often speak negatively about others, exaggerate situations, and carry stories from one place to another, adding their own emotions and assumptions along the way. Being around them slowly affects your heart. You may find yourself becoming more irritated, more suspicious, or more reactive than you used to be. This is not because you are changing for the better, but because the environment you are in is pulling you away from inner peace and emotional balance. Allah loves calmness, wisdom, and measured speech. Islam does not encourage constant arguments or unnecessary debates. If someone repeatedly pulls you into conflict, pressures you to take sides, or fills your mind with negativity about others, understand that this is a form of spiritual and emotional harm. Over time, such companionship can harden the heart and distract you from remembrance of Allah, because a heart filled with drama finds little space for tranquility and reflection. You are not obligated to participate in every argument or respond to every provocation. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Sometimes the most mature choice is to step away quietly. Distancing yourself from people who thrive on conflict does not make you weak or fearful. It makes you wise. Islam teaches us to choose peace whenever possible and to protect our hearts from environments that drain our energy and damage our character. Remember, my brothers and sisters, your peace is not a small thing. A calm heart helps you worship better, think clearly, and treat others with kindness. Anyone who constantly disrupts that peace is not entitled to unlimited access to your time and emotions. Reduce your exposure, limit your involvement, and trust that Allah will reward you for choosing serenity over chaos. 4. Those who encourage sin while normalizing it. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most dangerous types of influence in your life is not the person who openly sins and admits their weakness, but the one who encourages sin while making it feel normal, harmless, and even acceptable. These are the people who do not just fall into mistakes, but they invite you into them, speak lightly about disobedience, joke about what Allah has forbidden, and slowly remove the sense of seriousness from your heart. They make haram sound casual and repentance sound unnecessary, and over time this dulls your conscience without you even realizing it. Islam teaches us that every human being sins, but the difference lies in attitude. A believer sins and feels regret. A believer falls and seeks forgiveness. But when someone repeatedly treats sin as entertainment, laughs about wrongdoing, or pressures you to join them by saying things like, "Everyone does it, Allah is forgiving," or "You're too strict," this is no longer just weakness. This is influence. This is danger to your iman. Allah's mercy is vast, but it is not a license to disobey Him comfortably. Being around such people slowly changes what feels acceptable to you. At first you may resist, then you may stay silent, then you may begin to tolerate. Eventually you may find yourself participating not because you want to displease Allah, but because the environment has made sin feel light and obedience feel heavy. This is how hearts harden quietly, not through rebellion, but through repetition and normalization. Islam does not tell you to abandon people harshly or look down on them. It teaches compassion with boundaries. You can care about someone, make dua for them, and still choose not to sit in places where Allah is disobeyed. Protecting your iman is not arrogance, it is responsibility. If you knowingly remain in environments that pull you towards sin, you are placing unnecessary strain on your soul, and Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. You do not need to lecture, argue, or expose anyone. Guidance belongs to Allah alone. Your duty is to protect your heart, reduce your presence, limit your exposure. Choose environments that remind you of Allah rather than distract you from Him. When you step away for His sake, Allah replaces that company with something far better, whether it is peace, clarity, or people who help you grow closer to Him. Remember this, my brothers and sisters. Anything that makes sin feel normal will eventually make obedience feel strange. Do not allow anyone to reshape your values or weaken your sensitivity to what pleases Allah. Choose your company carefully, because your heart is precious and your akhirah is worth protecting. 5. Those who drain you emotionally without giving anything back. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam teaches us compassion, mercy, and care for others. But it also teaches balance, wisdom, and justice. Not every relationship that looks like kindness is healthy, and not every act of patience is rewarded when it comes at the cost of your emotional and spiritual well-being. One of the most exhausting types of people in life are those who constantly drain you emotionally while giving nothing in return. They come to you only when they need something, when they are broken, angry, lonely, or overwhelmed, yet they are absent when you need support, understanding, or even basic respect. These people often turn you into an emotional container. They unload their worries, complaints, anger, and negativity onto you again and again. You listen, you advise, you reassure, you make dua for them, and you sacrifice your time and energy, yet nothing changes. They do not work on themselves, they do not take responsibility. They simply return again and again, expecting you to fix what they refuse to address. Over time, this leaves you emotionally exhausted, mentally drained, and spiritually heavy, even though you started with good intentions. Islam does not require you to carry burdens that are not yours. Yes, helping others is a noble act, but helping does not mean allowing yourself to be used. There is a difference between supporting someone who is trying and enabling someone who is comfortable staying broken. Allah is the most just, and He does not love injustice even when it comes disguised as kindness. If a relationship consistently takes from you while leaving you empty, then something is wrong with the balance that Islam teaches us to maintain. Many people remain in such relationships out of guilt. They tell themselves that leaving would be selfish, unkind, or un-Islamic. But my brothers and sisters, Islam never commands you to destroy yourself emotionally to save someone who refuses to save themselves. Even the Prophet ﷺ took time away from people, rested, and protected his emotional and spiritual strength. Strength is not found in endless sacrifice. It is found in wisdom and self-awareness. Being around emotionally draining people can slowly affect your worship. Your heart feels heavy in salah. Your mind feels scattered in dua. Your patience becomes thinner, not because you are bad, but because you are depleted. When your emotional energy is constantly consumed by others, you have little left for Allah, your family, and your own growth. This is why boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. Islam encourages us to help, but it also encourages us to say no when needed. You are allowed to limit conversations, you are allowed to reduce availability, you are allowed to step back quietly without explanations or arguments. You do not need to announce your boundaries to everyone. Sometimes the most dignified boundary is distance. Quiet distance, respectful distance, distance done for the sake of peace. Understand this clearly. If someone only shows up when they need you, but disappears when you need them, they are not entitled to unlimited access to your time, emotions, or heart. Protecting yourself does not mean you lack compassion. It means you value the trust Allah has placed in you to care for your own soul. You can still make dua for such people. You can still wish them well, but you do not have to remain emotionally entangled in a cycle that keeps you drained and stagnant. My brothers and sisters, Allah created you with limits. You are not meant to carry the weight of everyone else's unresolved pain. When you step back from emotionally draining relationships, you are not abandoning kindness. You are preserving the strength needed to give kindness where it truly matters. And when you choose balance over burnout, Allah replaces that exhaustion with peace, clarity, and relationships that nourish rather than consume you. 6. Those who disrespect you while hiding behind honesty. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most misunderstood concepts today is honesty. Islam teaches us to speak the truth, but it also teaches us how to speak it. Truth without mercy becomes cruelty, and honesty without wisdom becomes harm. There are people in our lives who repeatedly hurt us with their words, embarrass us publicly, speak harshly, and then excuse their behavior by saying, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm only telling the truth." But Islam does not allow honesty to be used as a weapon against the dignity of another human being. Respect is not optional in Islam. Allah honored the children of Adam, and when someone consistently disrespects you, mocks you, or speaks to you in a humiliating manner, they are not exercising honesty, they are displaying a lack of character. A sincere believer advises gently, privately, and with the intention to uplift, not to dominate, shame, or feel superior. If someone corrects you in a way that leaves you wounded rather than guided, understand that something is wrong with the intention or the method. Many people tolerate disrespect because they fear conflict or feel guilty for standing up for themselves. They tell themselves that patience means staying silent no matter how badly they are treated. But my brothers and sisters, patience in Islam does not mean allowing repeated harm. Patience does not mean accepting humiliation. Patience means responding in a way that pleases Allah. And sometimes that response is distance. Silence does not mean agreement, and walking away does not mean weakness. It often means maturity and strength. Over time, constant disrespect damages the heart. It erodes confidence, creates self-doubt, and can even affect how you view yourself before Allah. You begin to question your worth, not because you lack value, but because someone keeps speaking to you as if you do. Islam does not require you to remain in environments where your dignity is repeatedly violated. The Prophet ﷺ himself distanced himself from people who crossed limits, not out of ego, but out of wisdom and self-respect. There are also those who disguise insults as jokes, sarcasm, or constructive criticism. They say hurtful things and then laugh, expecting you to laugh along, and if you show discomfort, they accuse you of being sensitive. Islam teaches us to protect hearts, not harden them. A person who truly cares about you will never enjoy making you feel small. They may advise you, but they will do so with kindness, respect, and concern for your emotional state. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to limit access to your life. You are allowed to say less, share less, and engage less. You do not need to argue or explain yourself to everyone. Sometimes the most dignified response is quiet withdrawal. Let your absence speak instead of your anger. Allah sees your restraint, your patience, and your effort to maintain peace without compromising your self-worth. Remember this clearly, my brothers and sisters. Islam does not teach us to endure abuse in the name of honesty. Your dignity matters, your heart matters, your emotional safety matters. Anyone who repeatedly disrespects you, even under the banner of truth, does not deserve unrestricted closeness to you. Distance yourself calmly, respectfully, and without bitterness, and trust that Allah will replace what you let go of with something far better. When you choose dignity over constant hurt, Allah strengthens your heart. When you choose peace over endless wounds, Allah grants you clarity. And when you walk away for His sake, He never leaves you alone. He becomes enough. 7. Those who pretend to support you but quietly compete with you. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most subtle and emotionally confusing types of people you may encounter in life are those who appear supportive on the surface, yet deep within their hearts they are quietly competing with you. They congratulate you with words, but their tone lacks warmth. They praise you, but their eyes carry discomfort. They stand beside you, yet inside they feel threatened by your growth, your healing, or your success. This type of companionship is dangerous because it is not openly hostile, but it slowly poisons trust and sincerity. Islam teaches us purity of intention and brotherhood built on genuine goodwill. A believer should love for their brother or sister what they love for themselves. When someone feels disturbed by your progress, your increased closeness to Allah, or the blessings Allah places in your life, it reveals an illness of the heart. This does not make them evil, but it does make their closeness unsafe. Envy is not always loud. Often it hides behind smiles, jokes, and forced encouragement. Such people may subtly discourage you. When you share good news, they quickly change the topic. When you speak about improvement, they remind you of your past. When Allah blesses you, they respond with silence or comparison. Over time, this creates confusion in your heart. You begin to doubt yourself. You feel uncomfortable sharing blessings. You start shrinking your joy to protect others' feelings. Islam does not teach us to dim the light Allah has given us so others can feel comfortable. Being around quiet competitors can slowly damage your sincerity. You may begin comparing yourself, measuring your worth, or questioning Allah's decree. This comparison steals gratitude from the heart and replaces it with tension. The Prophet ﷺ warned us about envy because it eats away at good deeds just as fire consumes wood. Remaining close to someone who cannot celebrate Allah's blessings upon you places unnecessary strain on your soul. My brothers and sisters, you are not required to expose such people or accuse them. Islam does not teach suspicion without proof, but it does teach awareness. If someone consistently makes you feel uneasy about your growth, guilty for your blessings, or pressured to stay small, then wisdom calls for distance, quiet distance, distance without arguments, distance without drama, distance that protects your heart while leaving their affair with Allah. This type of distance is not arrogance. It is emotional maturity. It is recognizing that not everyone who walks with you can walk at the same pace or in the same direction. Some people are meant to remain acquaintances, not companions of the heart. You can still treat them with respect, kindness, and dua, but you do not need to share your dreams, struggles, or blessings with those who cannot hold them sincerely. Allah distributes blessings according to His wisdom. Your success does not reduce anyone else's provision. Your healing does not steal from others. When someone cannot accept this truth, it becomes safer for you to protect your peace rather than constantly explain yourself. The believer understands that what Allah has written will reach them, and what He has not written will never harm them. Remember this, my brothers and sisters. True supporters feel joy when Allah blesses you. They make dua for your increase. They do not feel threatened by your growth. Anyone who quietly competes with you while pretending to support you should not have deep access to your heart. Distance yourself gently, without hatred or pride, and trust Allah to surround you with people who celebrate